Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to Journey JavaFX. This is season 2, episode number 9. In previous episodes, we did a lot about all those stuff happened behind the screen. So this episode, we're gonna do something colorful. We're gonna working on design a UI and also apply styles through CSS. If you are familiar with HTML, so you pretty much have experience with CSS. And for JavaFX, it's quite the same thing. It just has a FX prefix before all those style attributes. Let's start. Okay, this is the episode number 9. Here is exactly where we left from last episode. For now, we're gonna open this FSML file through our SceneBuilder. Yeah, before when we do some style to the button, we're gonna say, okay, change the font like something like this, and also change the background color right here, right? Background color, let's say whatever color, let's say blue, right? So in this way, it's not the best way because just think about it. What if we have like 100 buttons on the same page? Do we really want to do the styling one by one? We don't, right? So we need a kind of a way to apply a rule and say, okay, for this kind of panel, whatever the button, use this kind of style. But of course, if we really want to, assign a different style to a specific button, we can do that, right? But in that way, we are just, make the whole work a lot easier because we always have a default style. We just need to working on those particular ones, right? We want to specialize. So this is the old way. So now we're gonna work on a new way, which is the CSS style kind of thing. So now I'm gonna remove this attribute, make it all back to default. So now we have the basic button, bare bone, right? And a label is a bare bone. So now we're gonna go back to IntelliJ, create a new file under JavaFX folder. Oops, not package. Call it style.css. The name is okay. You can pick whatever name because it's kind of style. CSS is well known. So then I'm gonna use CSS as the file name extension. To make it work, we need some colors. And I have a cheat sheet, which is the color I found on the internet. I'm gonna copy paste them here, more like a reference, right? Let's take a look at what we have. We have a universal gray. I'm a big fan of color gray. It's just easier for my eyes. And we have a highlight gray. This color is more like a darker color than the universal gray. It's kind of, we're gonna use a list view, right? We have all those items, whichever we select, we want to make it stand out. It's kind of highlighted, so we know this one is currently, like selected. The other one is like Instagram pink. It's funny, I didn't use pink color a lot, but yeah, I found a kind of much highlight color. It's bright and it's pink. I just pick it randomly from the Instagram logo, and then I found a Twitter blue. This one is kind of for the hashtag stuff. I think it's blue color because the first time I know about hashtag is on Twitter. And then I pick a blue from Google logo, also another green color from Google, and a yellow color from Google, and of course the Instagram purple. This one will be specifically applied to our screenshot button, the snapshot button. Okay, now we have the file. Another thing, we need to associate our style sheet file to this UI, right? So for now, I'm gonna associate it with the root. Let's call it. It's a anchor pane in our case, and I'm gonna give this pane a special name called anchor pane root. More like, yeah, this one is special. We have only one. We want this root has a specific name, so that's the name I give to it. And then in the same time, we're gonna associate our style sheet to it, right? Go to our season 2 folder, looking for source. Under JavaFX, we have our style sheet. Double click on it. So in this way, it's more like we are associating the style sheet to the root. So all those controls under this root will automatically receive whatever the style we apply to it. It's kind of a one-time thing, right? We always want to apply to the root, and then this root will apply the rules to all the children. Make sense? So for now, we have the overall thing set up. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna open up this style sheet. We can either do it in IntelliJ, or we can just open it through this SceneBuilder. We can say open style sheet. So in this way, it's just easier to see, right? We have been looking at the darker screen for a long time, right? So for now, we're gonna apply some rule. In JavaFX world, all those buttons or labels, they are called control, right? And the control itself is a class. So say if we have like 2 buttons, right? I'm gonna give them a individual name. For this one, I'm gonna call it button test 1, and for this one, I'm gonna call it the button test 2, right? So now if we want to apply a universal rule to all the buttons, what we're going to do is this. Let's make it some room. Okay, let's say dot means looking for the class, right? And this class name is button. The name, we can look it up from over here. If we select a button, it will show a button. And say we're gonna give it some style. So for this one, let's say FX. A regular kind of CSS attributes, they are more like background color, right? Something like this. For JavaFX, we need to put a prefix dash fx dash. For this color, we're gonna give it a green by default, and also a fx text field. This is more like a font color, but for some reason we have to use the text field. Let's say white, right? And we're gonna give it a kind of font size, right? fx font size. We're gonna say, I don't know, let's say 20 for now. By default, I think 20 means 20 pixels or whatever. We can try it first. So yeah, I did a save. So you'll see, all the buttons receive this kind of style. Before that, I also want to specify something. We name this anchor pane like root, right? To select control by ID, we use the hashtag. For class, we use a dot, right? So for this one, I want to specify some fx font family. It's more like we give all our controls a default font. My favorite one is Consolus. All right, you see the font all changed. The reason why this button and including this label received this font family, because it's all under the anchor pen, right? So that's how it works. Okay, looks pretty good. And also, if we want to say, for the test 1 button, we want to make it special. Let's say button test 1, like this. And then let's give it a background color, fx background color. Let's give it a whatever color. Let's say the blue for testing. When we do the save, you see this button will be configured specifically because we have a definition here, right? That's how we find a particular one, or just apply a rule in general, something like that, right? So, all right, this is the basic one. We are still under 15 minutes. We're gonna do something else. For now, even if we run this application for the button, it doesn't give us enough feedback. Let me do a save instead of SceneBuilder. Okay, otherwise, IntelliJ is not picking up our latest change. So for now, the button, when we click on it, nothing happened. We don't even know if the button receives our click, right? So we want to make some tweak to it, making sure the button shows us something has happened to it. It's more like, give us more feedback, right? To do that, it's quite simple. Go back to our style sheet. For the button, I will say dot button. That's looking for something different. Let's say select it. No, let's say hover. Right. Once we hover on it, it will be change the background color. And for this background color, I'm gonna give it a FX dash background color. This one, let's use the pink one. It's pretty highlighted. Hashtag this color code. All right, let's test it. This one is specialized. Let's remove it. For now, we don't want to specialize it. Okay, so for all the buttons, you see, when our mouse hover on it, the background color changed, right? So in this way, we know, all right, it's happening. But when we click on it, it's still nothing happened, right? So now we're gonna do something even more. Let's say dot button. This one button, I think is clicked. Let's change the FX scale X into 0.9. You will see the effect of this one. Scale Y 0.9. Okay, let's try it. I hope it works. I don't remember exactly the no, not this one. Let me look at my cheat sheet. File the button. Oh, pressed. Sorry about that. It's called pressed, not clicked. Pressed. Okay, now it should work in the way I want. You see, when we press it, it's kind of shrink a little bit, right? So we know, all right, this one is responding to our click. Okay, that's pretty cool. So I think now comes to the end of this episode. In the next one, we are going to, put all the controls we need to this UI and apply the, style to it through CSS. All right, see you in the next one.